Hi, everybody. Welcome to Kickoff Labs live marketing chats. Today we're starting just a couple minutes late. It's totally okay, though. Today we're going to be doing live landing page reviews. So give me 1 sec to just finish setting everything up. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know in the chat that we're about to start the actual reviews itself. So let me go ahead and just jump in. Actually need to sign into my platform here. So these are live weekly marketing events, just in case you are new to this Kickoff Labs webinar. So these are live weekly marketing events where we get the chance to do live page reviews like these critiques we'll be doing today. We also do customer interviews. We'll be doing one next week, and I'll be sharing the sign-up form in just a few minutes for that. We also do all types of different events themselves, and I'll go ahead and let everybody know in the chat that we are now live. Looks like our co-founder Josh Lidgard is already in the chat, so great to see him. So we are now live. Great. Okay, so I went ahead and let everybody know in the chat that we are now live. Please press play, and you should be able to see my screen. Currently, I'm actually sharing the live landing page reviews, the viewing screen, so it's the video and the chat box. So I do invite you guys to actually sign into the chat, because it looks like we have about 9 people online, 2 of those being our co-founder Josh Lidgard and myself. I'm Izzy Palmerin. I'm actually registered as a Kickoff Labs chat. So the chat box is there, so you can actually engage with us directly. You can talk to our team, to the Kickoff Labs team directly. Please feel free to ask any questions. And if you did submit a landing page for review, post it within the chat. That way we can actually prioritize, because we do have like a long list of page reviews of pages that we can actually review. But if you did come here specifically for review, please leave that within the chat. Okay. So without further ado, looks like we haven't had any changes yet. I'm sorry, any pages posted within the chat. So give me 1 quick sec. Let me go ahead and open up our list of pages. And looks like we're joined by our co-founder, Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so while we're still waiting for those pages to be submitted within the chat, we'll go ahead and take a look at the pages that we have in our list, because we do have a really long list of pages that have been submitted for review. So give me 1 quick sec. Okay, so it looks like Josh already has the spreadsheet available and open. Josh, you want to go ahead and start just jumping into the first page?
From Mod Supertramp.
Sure, yeah, for modsupertramp.com or mod. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's an interesting domain name.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. That. All right, so you should see my screen now. This is going to be a really fast review because right now I can tell there's pretty much nothing here. There's a giant hand that says website under construction. There's an about us services, but this is all in a bar that doesn't scream do anything with me. Book a Skype class. This goes open here. I'm not quite sure what I would do. So it's a private tutoring service. And it says book now. What does this click me to? Separate type of booking page. Okay, separate type of. All right, so as far as I can tell, there's 2 calls to action on this page. One is to book a Skype class, and the other is this book now over here. Neither of which are clear that there's a call to action. Both actually take you to different things, which is actually really confusing because there's 2 different services. My advice is just to completely scrap this page and actually publish a page with a service like Kickoff Labs that has a clear call to action to get people to subscribe to a newsletter, or at least if you're not going to do that, have a real call to action on this page. Get rid of the under construction and just have something that says get free tutoring right now. So Otherwise, there's just not much I could say about this page. It just doesn't. It's a page people would come to and then leave immediately because there's nothing to do. And if they did try and click on anything, they might be confused because it's not really clear what I'm booking for, and so I'm never going to click on any of those links. So I will then move on to another page on the spreadsheet. So let me go to Walk Beauty prelaunch.kickoffpages.com. And so you can see I was leaving the browser, and there's a KickoffLabs exit intent window. Last chance to sign up, join the Walk Beauty revolution. And then it says subscribe now. So just a quick tip. I mean, the join the Walk Beauty revolution isn't quite an incentive. You're asking people to join a movement, which might be worthwhile. I think it would be better if you explained a bit in paragraph form on this dialogue what the revolution was, in case I got this before I tried to leave the page. Like, why is it a revolution and why should I join? And then the button should say, join the revolution. And so it should be close to subscribe now. So I would merge this and say last chance to join the Walk Beauty revolution. So just one sentence, and then below that I would have a sentence that describes we're a beauty box subscription for women of color, diverse color and ethnicity. Like that'd be perfect because at least it tells you like whether it's for me or not. Because right now, I could guess that maybe this page isn't meant for me, but with this form, but it needs to be clear who your customer is and who it's not. And so I think a couple of those changes to make it clear what this is on the exit intent and this button. So think about the exit intent as something think about the exit intent as something that should be like a mini landing page, and you need to have all the same things you would see on a landing page on an exit intent or modal pop-up. There needs to be context, there needs to be an explanation, there needs to be incentive, there needs to be a clear call to action, and so all the same rules that you hear about a landing page as we go through apply to this window. All right, so closing this out and actually getting to the landing page, Walk Beauty. You're really early, but there is a logo here. So there's this Walk Beauty logo, which is a really nice logo. I wish the logo was up here at the top of the page. It would look so much better than just the text of Walk Beauty that's in the font that the rest of the page is in. And so if I were doing this page, I would think about, and this is the first image people see on the page is down here too. So I would think about having a version of the logo that sits up here in the top of the page. And then this image should be this first image here. Like this is a really great image right here. And if you put this over in this area, then you'll have a much more eye-catching image for the first area of the page. The background image is one of our default kind of blurred background images. It makes the text really readable for the most part. The 10% off in red, I would just leave it as white. It actually doesn't seem to highlight it very well. Or maybe if you can make the 10% off bold, it would highlight really well in this space. And so a lot of changes at the top. The background image here, it'd be better if it was maybe like a box with some beauty products or just a table with some beauty products laid out that was faded in the background of the page, and that might make it a little bit more obvious. Going into the page itself, it's a little bit strange. So let's see, discover your beauty arsenal, join women of color, a beauty resolution, join today and receive. So I would people generally seem to get better at writing copy as they go on a page. This copy right here in this sentence, Walk Beauty is a deluxe beauty box subscription service for women of color and ethnicity. This is like the best copy so far on the page. This sentence should actually be what this sentence is, like, or a mixture of the two, like discover a beauty, a deluxe beauty box service for women of color and ethnicity, like something up here, like join Women of Color Beauty Revolution with our subscription beauty boxes that explains what it is. Because when you say join today, you could receive 10% off or a free box. You have to guess what it is. And nobody should read the first 2 lines of your landing page and guess what you're offering or what you're promoting is by having to understand that, like, oh, it's something I could buy and it's a box. And so be really clear. And this sentence is really clear. So if you could take the essence of this sentence right here and put it into the headline up here, I think it would be much better. And then my same feedback about the form on the exit intent window applies here, like where it says sign up now. This should be, get my 10% off, like get a 10% discount or earn a 10% discount. right in that space. So now looking at the rest of this, I find it a little strange how this left-right image is within the header here, and then this left-right image is outside of the header. I would be consistent. I would end this top section of the page with the background image right below the form, and I would take this part of the page right here and put it above here in the white so it's more readable. Because this text is a lot of text. It's going to be more readable above the white part of the page. And so I would focus on that. And I would do the same thing you have here. So this section should be consistent with a headline, like it says, "We are Canadian." I'm not sure that's the best headline, but just for formatting's sake, think about there being a headline, there being an image in here that helps draw your eyes to the text, and it being on the white background. And then if you have a second image like this of the product or somebody that would model the product, I would use, like, again, I said before, this logo should be at the top, and next to this text should be like a picture of the box or the products that you're offering within the box. In this case.
What if, hey Josh, quick question. What if they don't have the box ready? As was the case with one of our previous customers who actually like mocked up a box image with some tape. Do you think something like that would be effective on this page too? Like something like the faking it before you make it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great suggestion, Izzy. Is it assuming that you don't have sort of the box branding ready or the box ready? We had a previous customer that was doing a subscription box service, and what they did was they basically used some fancy tape and a marker on a box, and they made the box look really pretty with their branding on the box. And they said this was the box you were getting, and it was completely fake. But it at least gave the impression of what it was in a more accurate way than not having a picture of it, and it became really obvious that it was a subscription box. And so that's a great suggestion. My other
by the way, they like that specific customer collected over 30,000 emails in that process, so it's a proven process. It works.
Yeah, and so you can absolutely do that to get email subscribers. The other thing I was going to move on to is I wish this text, it feels a little long. I wish it was 30% shorter with a clearer headline in each section. And then this "We are Canadian" isn't really a value proposition because it's telling people about you, but why is it for the customer? Like, here you explain it, "We help Canadian women of color." Like, then this should say "For Canadian women of color," like right up at the top. Like, instead of bragging about the fact that we're Canadian, which doesn't really impact the person, saying that you're targeting people or that you're helping people in Canada would be a much better approach. These look like some of the stock images. I would really just get rid of this section here. I don't think this testimonial section is helping, and you can get rid of it within KickoffLabs, and so I would do that for that section. So let's go through the form and see what happens if I fill this out. All right. So invite friends and earn free stuff. So I would really think about your value proposition. I think that to get people to sign up early, you have to offer some kind of discount, like even if it's just 10% off the first box. So just for signing up at 0 friends referred, as an incentive for people signing up, I would give them 10% off their first box. Then at 5, I might say they get the first box free. And then at 10, you could say 10% off for life, or 15% off for life, to make it sound really different. So just something to think about with the incentives on the page. Like the thank you is just sort of generic text. I wish this was like, "Thanks for signing up for Walk Beauty," or "Thanks from Walk Beauty" up the top. And then this text is really our generic text in here, which is "Invite friends and earn free stuff." I would say invite friends and earn free beauty boxes, like an earn beauty box discounts. Like, be really specific in the headline about what they're earning, not just earn free stuff, because you're not just giving me stickers or t-shirts. Like, you're actually saying I'm going to get discounts on your product, and so be specific about that in this case. And then finally, the last thing is if you have walkbeauty.com or the domain, this is currently running on a Kickoff Pages domain. It's much better to use your own custom domain. You're paying for KickoffLabs. You can use your own custom domain. So you should go ahead and do that. That way it's just another trust factor that's going to look better. Izzy, do you have any other feedback here? Otherwise, I'll kick it back over to you on the for the next
Well,
page?
just really quick. I mean, just to anybody watching this, it's really important, as Josh mentioned, just to kind of think about two types of incentives. One of them being the sign up incentive, and the other one being the like what happens after they actually sign up. So maybe at first you'll offer them 10% off once they sign up. During the thank you page, during that referral page, that's when they can really start earning some additional rewards. So it's kind of, in a way, two types of incentives. And after this, we'll go ahead and link over to a great article that'll show you what type of incentives work really well as well.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And I believe, who was it in the chat? It was Process to Win. Okay, so they sent in the page called Coaching Process Wins. So we're looking at coachingprocesswins.com. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what it is and what it's about. Because right now it's kind of throwing me off. Like I can see the domain, the page, the browser tab itself says Super Bowl 51. Okay, let's see what that's about. So the headline: Winning shouldn't wait for football season. Okay, winning shouldn't wait for football season. That makes sense, but you could probably be a little bit more specific. Let's dig into the copy. Win your free coaching breakdown of this year's big game by signing up below. So, like, I believe that what you're offering here is kind of like some of the best plays that are probably being used by the top coaches, either in the Super Bowl. You guys are probably sending some kind of analysis or something. Just break it down. I mean, be really, really specific. Tell people what they're going to be getting. Because if I have to think too hard, like if you're driving traffic to this page, they don't really know exactly what to expect when they're arriving on this page. You really have to be as specific as possible. I know you're saying like the coaching breakdown, but what exactly is that? Like, what does that imply? What includes the actual coaching breakdown? Like, what's included within that? So the way coaches learn is changing just as fast as the game. Alrighty. Don't miss the opportunity to discover the latest schemes, strategies, and tools being used. So you are saying that it's just that it's kind of buried here within this text. And this is not necessarily like the standard way of actually building a page. Technically, you would have like you have your main headline, and then you have a sub headline, and then you have this like other sub headline, which is slightly out of place. Normally, this like additional headline here would be somewhat more tied to the actual form itself. Number one, so it doesn't push the form further down the page, and number two, so that it's actually tied to the form. Like, all right, sign up now to get your to get a free list of free plays, or just as Josh and I were mentioning, offer some kind of sign up incentive. So what's the real incentive to actually sign up? It looks like there already is. Sign up to receive your free coaching scouting report, breakdown of the game. So I guess what I would really recommend for this page is to kind of look for a better way to kind of combine these three sections where you could get a much stronger headline. I think I like this as a headline, like win a free coaching breakdown of this year's big game. And that would pretty much be your headline. And then you would just lead off with this sub headline here, like the way coaches are learning has changed. Don't miss the opportunity to discover the latest strategies, all that good stuff.
I think that to add to that, Izzy, I think that two things that you're driving at would be, one is that this sub headline here, the way coaches learn is changing. It's really hard to read that small text on top of the white crowd, even with the background fade that's there. And so that text should really be below where the key and the get access now section is. If you want to add more descriptive text, it should be in there because it's easier to read a black text on top of the white background. Whereas on top of an image, it's really the space for like one big headline or headline and a sub headline. But this kind of text on top of an image is never easy to read for people. And goal number one for landing pages should be like, can I even read and understand it?
Yep. Very true. Thanks a lot for that feedback. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the page. This like midsection here, the get access now, for some reason it just feels out of place. Like that key really doesn't do anything for the football coaches are not going to see that key and they're not going to identify with it. So really there's just no point to actually add that key. And just as a quick side note, I think I might not have been screen sharing previously. So now you guys should be able to see the page fully. So really what I would do is push this up here. So bring this up over here where you're tying the incentive exactly to the form, which you're already doing, and that's good, but the flow could be changed just a little bit. So bring the incentive up here and maybe down here. If you still wanted to add a little bit of text, just so there's some white space padding, you could just put like some additional information that you're not going to spam them, just a small little disclaimer of what you're going to be doing with their email address. So other than that, the page the page itself is pretty simple. I'm thinking that like maybe even like a small feature section might work. Maybe with just like 2 little short feature sections below here, just to provide a little bit more context. Maybe if you had those play-by-play examples. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those like little books that you have your little X's and you have your little all this stuff. Like, all right, you move here, move this. So if you had some kind of like additional little feature section, I think that would help to provide just a touch more context to the page. So let's go ahead and actually, you know what? We do have our designer on the call as well. Laura Lee is on the call with us. Do you by any chance have any feedback before I move on, Laura Lee?
Yeah, I was looking at the page, and as I was looking at it, I feel like there's something that definitely is missing with it. I feel like I don't know who is offering this, and I'm not sure that this is quite it. So I'm just kind of going to talk out loud as I think here. But I feel like there's maybe missing something like maybe a logo here, even something small to show some sort of like social proof for me to say, oh, I can trust this person. Because all throughout, I'm not sure if this is an organization or an individual or who's offering this. So that's just my initial thought of this, is offering some sort of social proof for me, like maybe through some sort of image. And I like, Izzy, what you said about adding something here or here, like some sort of feature offering of, to add a little bit more substance to the page and a little bit more clarification. Some sort of visual elements might soften it up a little bit too.
Cool. Great suggestions. Great suggestions. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we do sign up. So we'll sign up today. Let's see if we get our free coaching scout report. So the best practice is to, if it is generally like some kind of PDF or an ebook that you're promising them, the best practice is to deliver it immediately on this page and follow up with that via the automatic reply. So right now I'm saying, okay, your free scouting report is below. Don't make me look for it. Where is it? I had to start digging around. I would put this big old link because it is linked and looks like you are included the actual PDF, but put it up here. I mean, you can already say like, as promised, here's your free scouting report. Click here to download your free scouting report. And that's not going to make the page so long. But it just feels a little bit unbalanced too, because you're like leading off with this small section here, and then over here we're seeing the headline. So it just feels a little bit unbalanced. Maybe if you were just to use the actual headline to say, okay, so here's your free scouting report, and then the sub headline would say click here to download. It would say, okay, now invite friends. I'm just trying to see like what's the main incentive to win these additional coaching books. Like why would I actually click to share to win some additional ones if I already got a certain one? So it's put me in coach. Okay, backup. All right, so it's like different levels of the coaching that kind of like just give you additional information. You receive the big book of Belichick. All right, cool. So I would try to call this out a little bit more, like make this more exciting. Like what exactly are the benefits of upgrading to each section? Yes, you're providing plenty of text, but since there's already a ton of text here, you're not going to get people reading all this stuff. And then you're saying like not a fan of social media buttons. Just compress everything down. Make it really simple. Don't ask people questions. Just tell them exactly what to do. Direct people. And like, what are your Josh and Laura Lee? I mean, whoever. Like, what are your thoughts on this section? How would you make this section more obvious and more, I guess, just more enticing overall?
I think, I mean, I guess me personally, I think they have too many reward levels here. I would cut at least the 10 level that's in here, and then because they've got so much text within each of these boxes, they'll get to spread out a little bit wider on the page, and it'll be more readable. And then if you could cut down the text in each section still at that point, I think it would be useful to do that, to still cut down the text for each section within the reward levels. the names are cute, and I like that they're branded: backup, starting, dominating, full ride. Although I wish it was, it might be clearer if instead of backup, it was backup and like a subtitle free subscription, or starting and a subtitle, Book of Belichick, and then, full ride and the title, like, a year's free subscription, which I'm not quite sure is different from the backup, because I get like a free year subscription, and then there's a free subscription over here. So I don't know what the difference is between the two really without having to read closely, and imagine that most people are not going to read that closely. So be really clear about the rewards, and if you could simplify the rewards down to like a few words about each one, that would be much better than what's here today.
One other thing is I really like the image that you're using on this thank you page a lot more than the image you're using on the landing page. I think it gives a lot more context. It shows that it's a coaching related thing. And so I would consider changing that landing page image, looking for maybe either just using the same image or something similar. And then as you play with the overlay, try doing on the landing page a warmer color. As I was thinking about your landing page, I feel like it's something that's harsh and cold about it, that maybe like with a warmer overlay color, even just something very slight might warm it up a little bit. So, and then whatever you do on that, try to, keep it consistent on this thank you page.
Yeah, that's really good feedback. Like I love that the thank you page is actually a coach on the thank you page, and then the first page doesn't have a coach. And so this image, like I was saying before, really does a job of like telling the story through an image and backing up the copy on the page. And so to use something like this on the first page would do a much better job of telling the story than just a crowded stadium does.
And guess what? People in an image higher up on the page usually tends to convert a little bit better as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next page. Josh, want to go ahead and take this one?
Yeah, let me. Was there one in the chat, or should I just go on the list?
There was one on the chat.
Oh,
actually.
the nerdy girly boxes. Got it.
Yep, I like the name actually of the domain.
So let me go ahead and share the screen again. All right. I was exiting the browser, and so I could see the exit intent window. But just to kind of show this as a difference from the one we saw earlier, this one says, "Are you sure? Don't miss out on updates, sneak peeks, and discounts." The only thing I would change here is I would add "from nerdy girly boxes" to this sentence. But then the call to action is exactly that call to action, which is join the Nerdy Girl Box squad now. I would say, and the only other change I would make, and I'm not the color expert on the page, but there's just something that feels wrong about this purple and the green together. It just doesn't feel right, and I'm not sure that it's the purple or the green or the combination, but just something doesn't feel quite right about the color combination. And maybe if we look at the rest of the page, some other colors will jump out that we should use instead here. So
I definitely agree with that, especially like if you look at that hover over, and it's strange that it's white there too.
Yeah. And so if we close this and let's look at the rest of the page. But in general, I like the copy on this. So I mean, I like the "Are you sure?" I would just add the "from nerdy girly boxes," and I like that the button says "Join the Nerdy Girly Box Squad." Like it's much more to what you're offering and matching the call to action here. So let me close this, and then. Again, I don't know what it is with this background image lately that people like. It's 2 pages now this week with this default background image, and this background image doesn't tell your story at all. And I wish there was a better background image, because you've got this really cute drawing, the nerdy girly up here, but then it's this generic bubbly background image, and there's nothing against the images that we have that we give people for default purposes, but it's not really, it doesn't really help tell your story. So find an image of kind of something like a product, or maybe some women at a science fair or something like that fits what you're doing a little bit more. And I'm not quite sure what you're doing yet, because I haven't gotten into that. But other feedback on the page, this image, although it's cute, takes up a lot of space on the page, the nerdy girly here, and it pushes the copy down. And then the next thing I see is this countdown. So it still doesn't tell me what it is. It's like something's counting down. I'm not sure that's enough to encourage people to scroll down. I wish copy showed up sooner, and then the countdown was as incentive. So think about if your primary job is to explain the what and the why, is to explain the what first, a why to sign up could be this countdown, but even the countdown doesn't explain, like, what is this counting down to? Is this counting down to your launch? Is this counting down to a contest ending? Like, what is it? I don't know without a headline around the countdown. The next thing is Nerdy Girly Box subscription box. So I love that this is exactly what it is, Nerdy Girly subscription box. But then this copy I would kill completely. Coming soon, we're almost ready to launch our new site. It just screams, just go away. So I'm never even going to get to this, like sign up to receive update sneak peeks as we get closer to our official launch, when this tells me there's nothing to see here, wait till we launch our new site. So kill off this highlighted copy that I have here. Take this copy, put it right below where it says Nerdy Girly subscription box with the form right there, and put the countdown with a headline below this, below the form that explains you only have time remaining to get discounts, right? And that tells people, wow, I better sign up today because there's only 6 days left to get a discount, right? So if you think about the order of the page, it's somehow making this a little smaller, adding an image to the background that tells your story more instead of this default one, get rid of the coming soon, take this copy, move it up higher, move this copy up higher, the sign up to receive updates and discounts, and then with the countdown, put it below the form with an explanation of what you're counting down to. And then if we look at the copy below that, again, we have this weird color thing where like this image has this white background, and you've got a mock-up of the box, but with the gray background on this band, it looks really weird. So I'd kill the gray background, just go white and white. It'll look simpler on the page. And then this is black text on top of that image again in the background of the page. And I'm also not sure that works. I would keep this within a white section of the page. So I would just have this as simple white background, and a simple white background with just the one header image here and then this image here. And I think it'll look a lot simpler. In terms of the copy in here, this is an awful lot of copy. You're giving people options that don't matter. Like in this last sentence, our new site will include an option to choose from 1, 3, 6 month subscription. Proceeds will be noted and dedicated. Like at least this part of that is not necessary because it's not even an option. You're just telling people, hey, guess what we'll have in the future? Like it doesn't apply to them right now. It doesn't help convince them to sign up today. Join this, and when we launch every 6 months, we'll send you, that's worth having. This is worth having. It's just that one part here. If you could make this 3 paragraphs just 2 and then kill this. I do like that you're calling out that you're trying to be socially good, that there's a portion donated to charity dedicated to empowering girls worldwide. I would call that out in a headline somewhere, like maybe another section with a headline about how you're being socially good with your business, and as a reason to sign up. And again, we have this weird thing with like this black text and a purple box for the sign up button. And I wish this was I wish the whole thing was more readable. I don't mind the purple text here, but I think this would look better with a white background. Let me see if I'm right. If I just bear with me for a second, if we just do this, it could be fun.
It would look like super pro, super minimal. Yeah, it would look modern if it was white background.
Yeah, if we just took this and we killed the background here.
Josh's magic.
Oh,
woo.
Look at that. It looks so much better. And if we kill the background here too, inspect this. And we do the same thing here. Nope. Wrong part. Oh well, I'm not able to kill this one as easily as I was killing. Oh, up here. There we go. There we go. I still think this even looks better. You just have to kill some text. And again, I don't have a replacement image suggestion for you for these image sections, but I still think this would look better with the same kind of treatment here. Even just getting rid of it, the background would look better. Color, there we go. Now if we look at this page, I actually think this looks a lot cleaner going down through, even just with those small changes on the page. Laura Lee is probably cringing. She's like, you made it look terrible.
No. Actually, it's funny because when you started saying make those white, when I first looked at the page, the first thing that stood out to me was this big image. at the first with the logo, which I really like the logo, but it's too big and it needs to be smaller. And the second thing I thought was, look at the background image doesn't do anything like you were saying. And what if we just made the whole thing white? That was actually what I was thinking, was make the whole thing white. Things you want to stand out. I was thinking you could then pull in this subcolor that you have, this teal color, or continue to use this purple, like maybe even have like one strip that's just content, the background's purple. I mean, like maybe this could be it, where like this is just all purple with the content is white, and then the button is white as well. Something like that, and you can reach out to me to help you if you have some questions as you go along. But like even things like the color of the text here, it doesn't need to all be purple. Like consider making maybe just the headline purple, and then the rest your like black color that you have here. And as much as possible, try to limit yourself to maybe just those two colors with all the text, and try to only keep the headlines purple, and then make these black. And then one other thought is you can just look to see how it looks, but I think it will look better if you keep this headline, this font, but change this, because it's not very readable, this font here. Maybe change it to a more like sans serif, where it's a little bit smoother and easier to read. And like I really like Josh's suggestions with like moving the text around, removing some. When you do that, try removing these horizontal lines. I think that it will really help combine things together and help it look a lot more cohesive, and I think a lot cleaner too, without so much space. And if you want to add some space, I would add space here and here, just so everything's not quite so close together. Just add a little, it just feels so tight when it's like that. It just needs a little space to breathe. But definitely look at making as much of your background white. I really like Josh's suggestion for that.
And if you can see what I did, like if you're gonna have one section that's purple, maybe the top section is just purple without an image. And if you tighten it up, it's gonna look better. But if you can see like just a really quick change, like I changed this first text to be white on top of a purplish background and made the logo smaller. And already the text is higher up on the page. I think the white is more readable on top of this. And I think it matches your brand than if the rest of the page is closer to a white. And then obviously there's issues with like this font size should be the same as this or vice versa. So doing less with the design is generally better for most of us. And I think the less you can try and change from each section of the design, the better off you'll be. All right, Izzy, do you want to call it the next page?
Sure, we'll go ahead and move on to the next page. But I have just a quick question for Nerdy Girly. Where did you come up with this mock-up for the box? Is this like a real box? If not, this is an amazing mock-up. If you created it like in Photoshop or something like that, it's pretty cool. So let us know where you got it done, or if it's a real one, because that's pretty awesome.
You know, one other thing before we switch, I don't even know what's offered in the box. It doesn't say anywhere. And you say it's for nerdy girls, but is that like tech girls or who? It's not really clear what kind of stuff's going to be offered in the box. That's the other thing to possibly consider adding.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next page. Just in case you're here in the chat, we've already gone through the ones that have been submitted so far, but if you are in the chat, please go ahead and submit your URL. And actually, before we move on, Process to Win just has a quick question. So what would be examples, or if we have any examples of warmer colors to use on a landing page, just as we suggested for the previous one?
So some warm colors are going to be like reddish, orange, pinkish, anything in that spectrum. There's also going to be yellows, a warmer color. Some cold colors are like blue and purple and black. So I hope that gives you some ideas of, and it doesn't have to, it really, like when you do an overlay on those colors, if you just start into that spectrum, even if you keep it a little bit lighter, you're going to see that it's going to warm up the page a lot more. It's just going to feel, the feeling of the page is just a lot different. But also what goes along with that is you have to get the right image with the right color overlay. You can't do some images depending on what colors are in those images with certain colors, like yellow especially. I'm thinking pink sometimes are really bad, red. Like you just have to get the right image and the right amount of opacity. And as you start, again, if you have any troubles or need some help, just email support and ask me specifically, and I'll help you. I'll look at your page and see what I can do.
Yeah, so you can ask our designer, Laura Lee, if you email in our support at kickofflabs.com. You can always either speak to any of us directly. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next page. And there's no URLs in the chat yet, so that's okay. We'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So we're looking at beta.rovinglabs.co.za. Lots of dots there. But obviously looks like they're from, I forgot where ZA is from, to be honest with you. But okay, so we're looking at Roving Labs. The first thing I noticed is that it takes a little bit long to load, and even the page knows that, because I'm not sure if you saw, but there was a little top progress bar at the very top. So usually what that means is that even the page code knows that it's going to take a long time, so it's going to do something to entertain you. So first things first, all of these fancy little animations and the slideshow and all of that. Okay, I mean, if it's not really going to do much for your conversion rate, to be very honest with you, and if you're placing it like as a way to kind of like motivate people or to kind of get them to take action on your site, what's really happening is that I'm just seeing the headline and it's changing a lot of times. I mean, yeah, I could kind of like read it. The world is your classroom, learn through. All right, wasn't able to read the whole thing. This has no headline. This is kind of weird. So I'm waiting for the next headline. Coding and tech bootcamp. So it's kind of hard for me to understand what the main value proposition is. There's a call to action here. It's very top, which says apply now. All right, am I applying for the bootcamp? What am I applying for specifically? Or am I don't know what your lab is out there, turn your ideas into reality. And then it just quickly went like, so the slideshow is kind of off. It moves too quickly. Some of the slides don't have text. I would just omit the slideshow completely and just focus on a singular message on this. And if you do want to put like some additional things on the page, that's what the feature section is for. I mean, that's what people scroll for. And it looks like there's no lack of that. I mean, there's a ton of text on the page, ton of like, looks like call to actions, like this red and blue, and they're pulling my attention all over the place. So I guess these call to actions are getting the most attention, but this blue is not clickable. It's just a headline section. This red also, same thing. It's just a text section, and there's an awful lot of text. So lots of stuff for me to try to like absorb at this time. So just, I do think that it's a little bit too crowded. It looks more like, as I mentioned, kind of like more like a homepage as opposed to a landing page. But even still, I mean, homepage should be kept simple and should be directional. I mean, you should kind of like guide your visitors through learning about your product, through having them take action to actually sign up for your product or for the actual service. But here, so I would really consider doing what a lot of successful companies do, and they start running. And not only because we're Kickoff Labs and we have a really great landing page builder, but you can use any landing page platform. But the main focus is here is actually creating separate landing pages for each of your separate offering, maybe even for each of your separate courses. Let's take a quick look. Looks like you might offer like more than 1 or 2 courses. We'll just get that same header bar, so it just feels a little bit weird. So you have Internet of Things, app web development. You might want to consider like creating just either separate pages or separate landing pages and driving traffic specifically to those. Because if you're driving traffic to your to your homepage, yes, there's plenty of information, but there's almost too much information. Like I'll get lost. This first image has no headline whatsoever. It has no call to action. So I guess you probably want people to click apply now. And then I'm taken to this big, huge, overwhelming form that's overlapped. And then I see payment options. This is just going to drive people away. I mean, date of birth, like all this stuff, university, school. Oh man, this is an overwhelming form. You probably have a really low conversion rate. I apologize, but that's probably true. You should really focus on, as I mentioned, just getting them to take a singular action, probably not even drive them to the homepage, driving them to specific landing pages. You've seen several examples. I'll just go back to the Nerdy Girl, where it's just a singular landing page, a little bit of information, a call to action, and sign up to the email list. Because right now it looks like you're trying to get people to, yes, probably like apply, but you can simplify this. I mean, you could just make it a simple form, send us your email, and we'll put you in our funnel where you'll start receiving our drip email campaign, where we'll do our hard sell. Because this already feels like a hard sell. And guess what? 95% of people don't make purchase on their first visit to your site. So be aware of that. Focus more on the email lead generation and start driving them through your email funnel, where you could start educating and selling them, because this is not the best strategy. So we can go ahead and move on to the next page. Josh, want to take the next one, or should I?
Go ahead and take the next one.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. We're moving on to Deirdre Draws. Deirdre Draws. I don't know how to pronounce that. Deirdre Draws pre-launch. Okay, so we're looking at, are you ready for some life-altering underwear? Okay, you'll reap what we sow.
Drawers. They're going for drawers.
Drawers. That's what it is. Deirdre Drawers. Got it. So that background image took a little bit to actually load. I mean, I have a decent connection. So first things first, I would optimize that. There's a tool called Kraken that I personally like to use. You could probably use that to optimize this, because it's super high definition. And considering,
I'll also say I'm not quite sure that the image relates to a different image.
maybe, like, okay, so I did think that initially, Josh, but what if they're trying to go for the lifestyle brand? So which nowadays it tends to perform pretty well.
I mean, that's a fine choice. It still makes the text nearly impossible to read down around the form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, just in terms of readability, the page is definitely lacking. I mean, right here. Okay, so first let's actually go through the actual flow. So I was going to grab my tool. So we get this little pop-up. This is a KickoffLabs tool. So it says, sorry to pop in like this. Please sign up for product launch details and a chance to earn free product. Okay, but I mean, Josh had to read into it. Like, he was able to, like, oh, okay, drawers, I think it means underwear. But if a person didn't see underwear and couldn't deduce drawers.
What is the free product?
Exactly. Like, what is it? What is it? Show an image. I mean, okay, so here's a great piece of advice. Visit kickofflabs.com/showcase. The third showcase study, or the fourth one, is going to be comfortable boxers. These guys succeeded incredibly using Kickoff Labs. You could probably copy their campaign. I mean, take a look. I think there's a video even attached to this. So go to the actual video, check out what they did. You could pretty much replicate a lot of what they did, to be honest with you, since you're roughly in the same market. So yeah, so this needs to be improved. The flow of the page, Laura Lee already mentioned how kind of like the best flows would include some kind of simple logo, then a strong headline, a strong sub headline, and make sure that the page is readable. So the rest of the page isn't that readable. Oh, check this out. There's some undies here. Cool. So it's a design. That's what it looks like. So they have some pretty good information, and actually this looks eerily close to the comfortable boxers one. So it looks cool. I actually like the way they actually laid out their campaign. It's just that the top part needs a lot of improvement. So if people start visiting to this page, I'm sorry. So if visitors start arriving on this page, they're not going to have any context. Like, this is a beautiful design. It goes on the undies. It looks good, but if they arrive here, they're just going to walk away.
And they have a neat logo on the underwear too, and the logo isn't used on the site. Like, they have a nicely designed logo you can see on the drawers, like with the font and the D and the D there in the center. Like, that logo should be at the top of the page.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, everything looks really cool. Looks like the brand is innovative. Looks pretty cool. I would also admit the launching early 2017. What's that's telling people is that come back later, we're not ready. So just focus more on the contest side of things, where enter to win free undies, or you can do both, where you're like, sign up to get 50% off when we launch, and then once they do sign up, then you'll go ahead and like tell them, okay, well, you've signed up, here's your discount, now share with friends to earn free undies. Laura Lee, Josh, any additional feedback on the sign up page before I move on?
I kind of wonder if what they were doing on this top part of the page here. Oh, I think I might not be sharing. Just a second. Okay, so on this top part of the page here, I think that what they might have been trying to do is make it full screen with all that space. But if they need help with that, we can help them. But I think one of the big issues is they don't have any color overlay on the image or anything, and you can't read this. I really like what you suggested about adding a logo at the top, and then just removing this white space here in the, you probably can't see. So remove the white space here. This just is weird that it's here. and add some sort of logo. I would like to see this more centered. If they're going to make it full, the full viewport screen height, that's totally fine. But like they might run into issues where you didn't even know to scroll. For instance, it looks like this is all there is. But yeah, like adding a logo here, making sure you can actually read this this text here. And then what I would rather see is, even if they kept this all here, just centering like this text. So this text is pushed down a little bit and this one comes up a little bit. So like it's kind of centered in the middle with more space down here and more space up here, white space, rather than like right here in the middle. It just looks weird having it in the middle there. So I think that that's the biggest thing. The rest of the page, like you said, looks really nice. I really like how they did this. It looks really good. I might make this button a little bit bigger. It seems kind of small. And then add a little bit more white space up on top here. Otherwise, it looks like a really nice page.
All right, so let's sign up and see what happens. 1 second, let me go back. Sign up and see what happens. So we'll click sign up now, and most likely we'll be redirected. Okay, so the first things first, the domain seems to be published to our free Kickoff Pages domain. So it looks like the first page was actually published to your custom domain. You can publish as many pages as you want to a custom domain. So once you've added a custom domain to Kickoff Labs, I can publish the same thank you page, well, actually the thank you page to that same domain. So you don't have to add all kinds of different domains. You can just add a single one and publish as many pages you want there using paths. So it would be like doortodrawers.com/thank you and refer, or something similar. The second thing is, once again, there's no logo, but that's okay. This background image, I don't love it for some reason, because it's kind of confusing. Like, it throws people off because the first thing I see are 2 pairs of sneakers, so not just 1 pair.
I would love a simpler background, just the table and the drawers. Like,
or maybe that's what they're giving away. Maybe they're giving away some Air Jordans. I mean, never know. No, they're not. So yeah, I was kind of hoping. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna sign up. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna sign up for some Air Jordans. So so this page, I mean, yeah, I would kind of like omit the like the sneakers from the image, and also looks like they're kind of doing the same thing where they're kind of trying to make the page look as if it's full screen, where they're putting some additional breaks here. That's gonna push these buttons too far down this page. And unfortunately, what's gonna happen with this one and with the sign up page is that people on mobile are gonna see it extremely low. So they're gonna have to scroll quite a bit to actually get to that. So be aware that the best flow is just keeping it kind of like as the page is. That way it'll properly scale to the right size, and people on different devices will always see it consistent. Will always see the page consistent. And this is actually like pretty vague. Like it says, thanks for your interest. Now invite friends and earn free product. It looks like our default text. I would really focus on placing exactly what people are going to be getting. Like, you've earned your discount. Even consider like switching this up, because people are gonna have to invite 5 friends just to get $5 off. Not sure if that's worth it. I mean, just play around with those reward levels. People like getting something just for signing up. So maybe $5 off just for signing up is gonna help drive your conversion rate a little bit. And if you want, just keep these levels the same, because I mean, you roughly know what each lead is going to cost you, and what you could give away. So the rest of the page,
and just to add to people that are paranoid, because I hear this concern about, like, well, what if I end up giving too much money away? Like, this is your marketing cost. Like, you have to factor it in. Like, to get something, you have to give something. So right off the bat, I'm saying prepare to expend some money per valid conversion of people that come through. The second thing I'll say about it is you can always limit yourself. So right there's a reward policy. You get 25 referrals, earn 3 boxers when we launch, get 50, earn 6 when we launch. But something you can say in there is you can limit the reward. So you can say, get, the person who gets a free boxers, we're only doing 100 of those. So you can cap out what you're willing to spend, right, on that, and just say the first, 100 people that get 10 rewards. And so you don't have to worry about, like, well, what happens if we get so many people sign up, we're giving away all these boxers and we really can't afford to. You can cap your rewards. Although the second thing about really can we afford to, you should be really thrilled in the end if you have the problem of, oh my gosh, I have so many people signed up, I have to give away all of these free Boxers, because they're going to be your brand ambassadors, and so it's going to pay you dividends, if not immediately, down the line, because they have your product for free. So things to think about when you're looking at setting the rewards.
Thanks for that feedback, Josh, because actually I've had a lot of customers kind of concerned with the fact that, yes, they like, what if I go viral? That's a good thing. Yeah.
I mean, you could certainly structure things where you end up losing a lot of money through the campaign, but that's why I recommend you can structure it such that like you can add limits to it if you want, or just really thinking about it like, if I get 10% of people sign up my list or 7% of my list to eventually purchase, like what is it worth doing? So you kind of work backwards from that math to figure out what you want to keep your exposure to.
Great. Okay. So looks like we're pretty much about to wrap up. It's about 11:57. So let me go ahead and share with you guys the event that we're going to be doing next week. Actually, we're going to be talking to a customer who has run 2 successful crowdfunding campaigns, and for both of those, he actually pre-marketed those campaigns using KickoffLabs. And I do apologize because I closed the page a little while ago, and let's see, I forgot what the URL was, so apologies. Give me 1 sec. Josh, want to do some talking just to talk us out while I go ahead and look for that URL really quick?
We can share it via email afterwards. I think it's not a problem. So just before we can just end it. But yeah, I mean, so what you guys saw, most of the people who are here were using KickoffLabs. If you haven't tried KickoffLabs and you're watching this broadcast live or delayed, go ahead and try KickoffLabs.com. That viral sharing with rewards is something we make really easy. And so you should go ahead and give it a shot. And oh, that's a great looking page, Izzy. You should share that page with people.
Thank you. So yeah, this is our page. So this is for next week's event. So it's a customer called Woolnoke, and luckily they've rocketed past their crowdfunding goal. They've, and on 2 separate occasions, to already make almost $2 million in sales. And guess what? This is all within their first year of existence. So it's really, really cool to see that and see how businesses can succeed, especially using tools nowadays. I mean, these like viral platform tools like KickoffLabs and some additional ones. So be sure to sign up. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys in the chat, but be sure to sign up for the event. Thanks for the compliment on the page. This is all KickoffLabs.
Yeah. Cool. If you don't have anything else to say, I think we can wrap it up.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you very much, and we will see you all next week for next week's live event. Okay, have a great afternoon, and if you have any questions, you can actually reach out to support@kickofflabs.com. And since you've bared with all of us throughout this entire event, you can actually email us direct. Josh, our founder, his email is josh@kickofflabs.com. Laura Lee, she's our designer. You can reach her at lauralee@kickofflabs. And I'm Izzy, focused on marketing. You can email me at izzy@kickofflabs.com. Okay, so once again, thanks a lot, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great one.